This demonstration is going to be to join a Windows computer to an existing Microsoft Active Directory domain. Now, you could be doing this from a Windows client operating system, but in this case, I'm going to be using Windows Server 2019 to connect to an existing Active Directory domain. So the first thing I have to think about is my network configuration. I have to be able to reach at least one domain controller from the existing domain over TCP/IP. So let's go ahead and take a look at our TCP/IP settings here on this computer that will be joined to a domain. So for that, I'm going to go into my Start menu and then into the Control panel. I'll choose Network and Internet, Network and Sharing Center, and then change Adapter Settings. And what I want to do is right-click on my network interface. Now, if you've got multiple network interfaces, which might be connected to different VLANs, that type of thing, make sure you're selecting the appropriate network interface that will be able to contact a domain controller. So I'm going to choose Properties. I'm interested in Internet Protocol version 4, so IPv4. So currently this server is set to obtain an IP address automatically. And that's fine. I don't have to change that. But what I really need to do when I want to join a machine to a domain is I need to make sure I'm pointing to a DNS server that has service location records for domain controllers. Otherwise, this machine would never find a domain controller, and by extension would never be able to join the domain or anything like that. And this is also important for troubleshooting, making sure you can reach a domain controller to authenticate, so to log in, and also to pull down group policy. So I'm going to put in the IP address of what I know to be a domain controller for the domain I want to join. And I'll click OK and OK. So now that that's done, we can proceed with joining the machine to the domain. So I can search the control panel here for join, and immediately I have under the system category, join a domain. So I can go ahead and do that, click the change button. I can also change the computer name at the same time if I really want to. So why don't we call this Windows Server 2019-2, and I want it to be a member of a domain. And now the domain, I have to know the name of. It's quick24x7.local. And that's where DNS is important. If we don't point to the correct DNS server, then that will never be resolved correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and I'll click OK again. If you get to the point where it's asking you to authenticate to the domain, you're in a good place. So I'm going to go ahead and specify the administrator account for the domain, and I'll also specify the password for it. Technically, you don't need an admin account to join the computer to the domain, but in this example, I'm just going to go ahead and use that.